In the year 1442, the Turkish Sultan enslaved 1,000 Transylvanian boys to fill the ranks of their army. They were trained to kill without conscience, and to crave the blood of all who defied the Turks. One among these boys grew into a great warrior, so fierce that entire armies would retreat in terror upon hearing his name. He is known as Vlad the Impaler, the son of the dragon. After defeating many of his enemies, he became sickened by all the monstrous acts. He buried his past and returned to Transylvania to rule in peace. His people called him prince, and his son called him father, but the world would soon come to know him as Dracula. We are now seeing events that lead to Vlad becoming Count Dracula. While patrolling outside the castle, Vlad and his soldiers find a helmet that is floating down the river. Vlad recognizes the headgear as belonging to a Turkish scout. Vlad says that Turkish army scouts never travel alone. If there is one, there might be more. Whatever area the Turkish scout, they conquer as well. Since the helmet was washed downstream, it came from up the Broken Tooth mountain. Vlad orders his men to alert the castle guards and double the sentry. The Turks have crossed into his land unannounced, so it's a sign of war. Vlad plans to meet the Turkish army leader and negotiate. As the helmet is turned, we now see a big claw mark. Vlad and his men climb the mountain from where the helmet came from, and finds a cave. There is an eerie noise coming from inside. Suddenly, a group of bats comes flying towards them. Vlad thinks that the soldiers are inside the cave, because bats usually don't come outside during the day, unless they are disturbed by something. He draws his sword and goes inside. Inside the cave, they find armor shields with a similar claw mark as the helmet, and the floor of the cave is filled with crushed bones and skulls. They realize that the Turks didn't do this. At the same time, we see something watching them. This thing has some sort of echolocation capability like a bat, and it attacks one of the soldiers. They quickly run outside, but the thing is following them. Vlad strikes the figure with his sword, but it throws Vlad to the entrance of the cave. The figure is now coming towards him. Vlad crawls backward and draws his sword. As soon as the sunlight hits the sword, it reflects back. Seeing that, the figure stops walking towards Vlad and retreats. The blood from the figure evaporates when the sunlight hits the blade. Vlad quickly returns to the castle and consults with the priest. He tells Vlad that his encounter with the creature is not a coincidence. 4 nights ago, all the priests in Transylvania had the same dream, in which they saw a creature laying siege to the holy place. It is prophesied by the Romans as the coming of a great evil, a vampire. The creature was once a mortal man, who summoned a demon from hell to trade for his dark power. The demon granted his wish, but he is condemned to an eternity in the darkness of the cave, until he finds someone to take his place and set him free. Vlad tells the priest not to mention it to anyone. The next day, a messenger from the Turkish Sultan arrives at Vlad's court. Vlad offers silver coins as a tribute to the Sultan. Hamza thinks that Vlad has something to do with the missing Turkish scouts. Vlad replies that he didn't kill them. In response, Hamza insults him in Turkish. Vlad says that either Hamza can take the tribute or leave it. Hamza says that he will accept it, but the Sultan will also need 1,000 boys to serve in his Janissary corps. The court did not like this proposal and is strongly against it. These boys will be fighting for the Turks all over Europe. Hamza reminds Vlad that his father also gave him as a child to serve the Sultan. Hamza warns Vlad that he doesn't have an army and no other choice. If he doesn't obey the Sultan's orders, Transylvania will suffer the consequences. The next day, Vlad goes to meet with Sultan Mehmud to negotiate. He tells Mehmud that he will give anything in place of the boys. But Mehmud says that he needs soldiers, and now he wants 1,000 boys and one more. Mehmud says that Vlad's son will be given to him, and he makes it official by using a blood thumbprint. General Ismail arrives to take Vlad's son, Injuraz, with them. Vlad's wife is very upset about this, because Vlad promised her that he would not let this happen. Vlad is also conflicted about this decision. Hamza again insults Vlad for giving up his son without any resistance. Vlad looks at his wife and then tells his son to run to his mother. He then draws Hamza's sword and kills him along with all the remaining soldiers. Vlad's minister says that Mahmud will punish Transylvania for this action. Vlad looks in the direction of the cave and says that he will find a way, and starts riding toward Broken Tooth Mountain. He enters and goes deep into the cave following the bones. Just like before, the creature is observing him, and this time it addresses him. The creature wonders why Vlad returned to the cave. Vlad is the first man that has escaped the creature, and yet he returns to the cave. Vlad hears weird noises all around him, and suddenly, the creature appears right in front of him. This time it is less terrifying. He smells Vlad and finds that Vlad doesn't have fear in his mind but hope. Vlad says that the Turks are threatening to destroy his kingdom. With power like the creatures, Vlad has a chance of defeating them and saving his people. The creature says that he knows a lot about Vlad and his ancestors. Vlad says his enemy does not fear swords or men, they fear monsters, and sometimes the world needs a monster. The creature tastes Vlad's blood and finds out that he has the strength and will to hold his dark powers, and can set him free. He extracts his blood and asks Vlad to drink it. After drinking, Vlad will get a sample of the creature's power. He will possess the speed of a falling star, the strength of 100 men, and dominion over the night and all its creatures. His wound will heal immediately, but all this comes at a price. Vlad will always be thirsty for human blood. But if Vlad can resist for 3 days, he will return to his mortal state. If he feeds, he will have to spend eternity in darkness. The creature would be set free, and Vlad would be the vessel for the dark powers. Vlad proceeds to drink the blood, and as soon as he completes, his body starts dying. He gets a vision of his family, the war, and darkness, then wakes up in the nearby river. His silver ring is now burning his flesh. He experiences his new strength, healing ability, and echolocation capability just like the vampire. But now silver is lethal to him.